All right, episode 22 of Ball. This is the first video I do since Maldini's sacking. I did actually do one the day of, and it was very angry. And when I rewatched it, I thought, okay, let me take a break. Let me take 2 days, 3 days, and then do it again. And I did that, so now we're here. What do I say? First of all, flat out, I think it's the wrong decision. I think it's a very bad decision. I think it shows a lack of long-term thinking and a lack of stability, which was our main, selling point against all these other teams around us. But the full picture now, is a lot clearer than it was the day that it happened. I think Oli from Sempre Milan did a fantastic job of summarizing it. And when I heard his summary, I was like, okay, you know what? Like when you put it all together like that, it makes it a lot more understandable. Like, because my initial reaction was, I can't believe they did this. And now I'm like, okay, knowing all we know and the landscape of sports, I can totally believe that it happened. I still don't think it's the right decision, and you would like your ownership to be smarter than the average ownership, but that's often not the case. The facts are this. A new ownership always wants to fire everybody and start with their new guys. That's the fact of the matter. Most new ownerships want to bring in change. They want to bring in their guys, right? But this new ownership took over fresh off a Scudetto win. So genuinely, he could not fire him. I think from last summer he wanted to get rid of him, but he couldn't. But Cardinale, I mean, it's just not. It wouldn't have been justifiable in any way, shape, or form. We had just won the title. So he extends him, and he gives him the quote unquote autonomy he wants with very little budget. Shit happens. It's the worst transfer window of the 4 years of Maldini. That's an undeniable fact. As a backer of him, this past transfer window was bad. Despite the fact, and again, even though the budget was bad, right? Even though the budget was low, there was still a more efficient, better way to distribute that budget and get a high return. We all agree on that. Okay? Now that's happened. Then it makes sense, just based on those facts. It makes sense that the management group gets fired. That on its own makes sense, right? You would like the ownership group to say, we're not going to judge him on just this year, the year that we've been installed. We're going to judge him on the full totality of what he's done. And the full totality of what he's done is overwhelmingly positive. Like, it is so unbelievably overwhelmingly positive. It dwarfs all the negatives by a long shot, in my opinion, right? But that's not how sports work. That's the reality. The reality is that's not how it works. They always want their own guys. So he got fired. Again, that part, right up until that part, when you go down the steps, that's all understandable, right? What isn't understandable is two things, right? Two things that make this egregious. First of all, everybody's constantly talking about the name. If you take the name out of it, if you do this out of it. Okay, you can't take the name out of it. You can't. That's a stupid concept. You can't. Because if you take the name out of it, if you take the emotions out of it, if you take the loyalty out of it, if you take his career as both as a sporting director and as a player out of it, then what the fuck are any of us doing here? If it's all about just the straight up facts and the numbers, then every single one of us, the fans, is an idiot. Why the fuck do we give a shit about this team then? If it's all just black and white, we do what's in front of us. Why the fuck did we not stop watching this team when it sucked? What's the reason? If we have to constantly push the feelings out of the way, what the fuck is the point? No. His name means something. That's a fact of the matter. You want to fire him, fine. But there is a way. There is a way to do it. And it was unacceptable the way it's been done. To not even take the brunt of the heat. You fired a club legend. Just post it on social media. That's the bare minimum. Fuck it. They're going to reply a bunch of Cardinale hashtags. You're a big boy. You're a billionaire. Deal with it. Do it how it's supposed to be done. Simple as that. There's no fucking excuses. It's pathetic. Anybody who tries to excuse it is pathetic. Honestly. That's the first unacceptable part. The firing is one thing. The firing, as I just laid out, makes sense. This does not. No, unacceptable. You can't take the loyalty and the emotion out of it. Otherwise, what the fuck are we all doing? We're all just a bunch of morons. Like, why the fuck do we watch this sport if we're gonna do that? So that's first of all. The second part that doesn't make sense. This is the business side that doesn't make sense. Fire him 3 months ago. Because this bullshit of we've negotiated with Chelsea for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. We've negotiated with Bologna for Arnautovic. And we've negotiated with Kamada's agent as a free agent. Now, irrespective of what you believe about those individual transfers, right? And I have mixed opinions on all of them. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, he should, if he knew that he wanted to fire, Cardinale knew that he wanted to fire Maldini months ago, okay? He could have done that. Instead, he kept them on, and he kept them on, and he kept them on. And it is bad business, because they went and represented the club in negotiations all around Europe, and talked all over town with all these players. And then all those agents and all those clubs abruptly, like the rest of us, were like, wait a second, all the work we just did, we just sat in these fucking rooms with you for hours and none of it means shit now? Nobody wants to deal with somebody like that. So that is bad business. Those are the two parts that are unacceptable. The firing itself, like I just laid out, that can be explained. But those two parts cannot. Simple as. There's no excuse for it. And anybody that tries to tell me, I'm not listening. There's no excuse for it.